Hey everybody, it's me, Bob Harris, Senior Editor of FootballDiehards.com. Welcome to the Week 2 Injury Review Preview Update Overview thing. It's a video we like to do about the middle of each Saturday, get you up to speed on all the big stories, things you need to have on your radar. That if you're just catching up after a hard week at work, we'll have everything for you, including the game time decisions, and kind of run through those in chronological order so you have a good understanding of what you need to have in fallbacks and generally just get things off to a great start for the weekend, right? And hopefully set your success for week 2. We'll start out in New England. So if you watched this video last week, I was talking about how things move fast in AB world. Antonio Brown. He had just been released by the Oakland Raiders. Subsequently, later that day, signed with the New England Patriots 4 hours later. And then since then, he's been accused of rape in a civil suit. And so, yes, things continue to move fast in AB world. The league is investigating the off-field situation. We'll talk to Brown and the accuser next week. In the meantime, Brown practiced with the Patriots all week and made the trip to Miami with the team this morning. So the newly signed wideout remains in position to make a contribution in his first week in the Patriots at a great matchup. That said, I'll remind you, not 100%, making the trip is not 100% guaranteed play. 7 people will be inactive tomorrow. So that's something we'll watch right up through kickoff. I will say everybody who covers the team expects him to play. Jeff Howe, who's covered them for a long time for both the Boston Herald and now the Athletic, wrote on Twitter this morning after a strong week he characterized it at practice, he would be surprised if Brown did not play against the Dolphins, and I think that's kind of the general consensus. So we'll be watching for that. If you're trying to get a handle on what he might do that first week, I go into that in depth. If you hit the main page of the site, look down the list of late-breaking updates. There's one about setting expectations for Brown that goes pretty in-depth in that. And also, one other note, there were a lot of rumors on Friday on Twitter that James White did not make the trip. Those rumors were silly because the trip wasn't until today. James White did make the trip. His wife is pregnant, expecting a child, but it seems like since he made the trip, he'll be fine and good to go. Brandon Bolden was ruled out of that. So let's go through the rest of the game time decisions for Sunday and into Monday night, because a lot going on Monday night, including Sam Darnold being out. So I'll get to that in a moment. We'll start in Baltimore. The Ravens host the Arizona Cardinals. Mark Ingram with a shoulder, Marquise Brown with a hip, Mark Andrews, a tight end, with a foot, all listed as questionable. All of them are fully expected to play. Ingram worked fully on Friday, was limited on Thursday and Wednesday. Got a full practice in Friday. I think this questionable designation is just a formality. For Andrews, the reporting on Friday was he took Friday off just as a day of rest. So there's that. And Brown, didn't practice much last week heading into Miami, and we all saw him produce 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'll remind you that was only on 12 plays. He needs to get more playing time to sustain that kind of production. But Arizona Cardinals defense, pretty generous. No Patrick Peterson. I mean, a lot of reasons to really like the Ravens again this week. Cardinals are good on injuries. The Cincinnati Bengals will have a game time decision coming on Joe Mixon. He was listed as questionable with an ankle injury. He practiced Friday, but it's just a walkthrough, and he was limited. So Wednesday and Thursday, he did basically worked on the rehab field on the side, talked to a local reporter who was there and said he was working basically with the resistance bands and, staying active. So he has a chance. Gio Bernard would really pick up the pace. If you go back to the late breaking updates, I have an article in there that outlines what Gio Bernard has done in games without Joe Mixon since Mixon's arrival. And it's, about an 80% snap share for starters. So he'd be a great play if Mixon doesn't go. And I'd be a little worried if Mixon does go that he would suffer a setback, but that's something you'll have to deal with. Travion Williams is also listed as questionable with a foot injury, the rookie running back, so we'll see on him. A.J. Green is ruled out, but he has been ramping up the activity, so he's getting closer. He was actually been working on the rehab field a little bit. He's out of the walking boot, so some positive news for A.J. Green owners, hoping he returns too soon. On the other side of the ball, Tevin Coleman is out with a high ankle sprain. That leaves Matt Breida and Raheem Mostert as the top 2 running backs. Jeff Wilson is expected to be promoted from the practice squad. We've seen him be a capable contributor in the past, and we know they'll switch around the running backs, so watch that. Jalen Hurd and Trent Taylor continue to be out there. It sounds like Joey Bosa would play. For the Washington Redskins, hosting the Dallas Cowboys, Darius Geis is out. He was placed on injured reserve Friday, injured his knee last week, went and got a second opinion, had his meniscus repaired. There was some hope he would return maybe inside of 4 weeks or inside of 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. That won't be the case. It's at least 8 weeks out now that he's on IR. That means Adrian Peterson will get the start 1 week after being a healthy scratch for the first time in his 13-year career. And he will run angry. He'll also be backed up with Chris Thompson, who seems like he'll have a good receiving role going forward with the guys out as well. Jordan Reed will miss another game. This is getting worrisome, people. It's 3 weeks since he suffered what's been his 7th documented concussion. in the preseason game against Atlanta. There was optimism early in the week, just like there was last week, and just he has not cleared the protocol. So that's getting a little concerning. Vernon Davis excelled. If you saw the huge play last week where he hurdled a player on the way to a touchdown score. So Vernon Davis still capable of getting the job done in this offense. For the LA Chargers, they're in Detroit. Mike Williams, a true game time decision. He did not practice Wednesday or Thursday, was on the field Friday. Seemed pretty pessimistic up to that point. So I don't know. Dontrell Inman and Travis Benjamin would move up in the rotation. Remember, Hunter Henry has already been ruled out of this game. He's on IR with a tibial fracture, tibial plateau fracture. I said he was on IR. It sounds like it'll be 4 to 6 weeks. Maybe they're waiting on him. 4 to 6 week absence. That seems like a little optimistic. But anyhow, Mike Badgley, the place kicker, also questionable. So Williams and Badgley, both game time decisions. Ty Long, the punter, filled in very nicely last week with Badgley out with the same groin injury. New York Giants, the receiving core is mighty thinned out. Sterling Shepard is out with a concussion. Cody Latimer is questionable. He would move into the starting lineup with Shepard out. Questionable with a calf injury, so you'll have to watch that game time decision. Guys like Benny Fowler and Russell Shepard would move up in the rotation, but the offense would essentially continue to run through Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram against Buffalo. For the Bills, Tyler Kroft is questionable with a foot injury. Didn't make it back last week. Looks like he will this week. Tom Sweeney, the rookie tight end, has been played reasonably well last week. And also Andre Roberts, the return man, is out for a second straight week. For the Jacksonville Jaguars at Houston, Marquise Lee turned up as questionable on the injury report. Played very limited. I think he only had 21 snaps last week. He's fallen behind. Dede Westbrook's the number one. And DJ Chark and Chris Conley, beyond him, seem to be the top three wideouts. They'll be playing with a new quarterback, of course. Rookie Gardner Minshew, the stash, they call him, is taking over with Nick Foles on IR. He'll hopes to return around week 11 or so. We'll see if that's the case. Broken collarbone that he suffered early in last week's game. For the Miami Dolphins, getting back to that New England game, Albert Wilson is out this week. He got in last week, injured his calf, I think after 5 or 6 snaps. He was targeted on, I think, 5 of his 6 routes. So sad to see him out. Preston Williams moves up in the rotation. Again, he caught a nice touchdown pass in garbage time last week. So there's something there. Also for the Patriots that I didn't mention previously, Matt LaCosse is listed as questionable. Look, this game, the Patriots seem to have made the adjustment, right? Things are working through the receiving core, the wide receivers with Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski retired, so don't get your hopes up for LaCosse as a regular contributor. He's just not there yet. The Indianapolis Colts hosting or at Tennessee. Devin Funchess is out. He was placed on IR with a broken collarbone as well. Suffered in Los Angeles last week. It looked like he was going to be a big part of this offense. So now guys like Paris Campbell and Deion Kane have an opportunity, maybe even Chester Rogers, to get a little more done. But Funchess is out. In the late afternoon games, Tyreek Hill, of course, is out with the shoulder injury he has. He will miss 4 to 6 weeks. Mecole Hardman, the speedy guy they drafted when there was all the uncertainty around Tyreek Hill, gets his chance. I have a lot of information about him in the late breaking updates section as well. You should all be checking that out if you get a chance. Or if you're, look for players you're interested in. Look for the teams that, the team updates of the players you're interested in. J.J. Nelson on the other side of the ball has been ruled out with an ankle injury as well. Should be a high-scoring game. Huge line, I think 53-point over and under. So Patrick Mahomes is fine. Practiced all week despite the sore ankle, so no worries there. And everything else is on track in this game. Trey Burton, the tight end for the Chicago Bears, hopes to come back this week. Limited participant all week. He's listed as questionable. That's a late afternoon kickoff, so you'll want to watch that. One thing you want to watch about that, if you notice, Tyreek Cohen was on the field a ton last week. A lot of that working out of the slot. A lot of that is because Burton was out. A lot of those slots, a lot of the times that Cohen was lined up in the slot as a wide receiver, Burton will get that role when he returns, so that's worth noting. Then we get to the Monday night game. Sam Darnold has mononucleosis. He will be out until at least week 5. They have a week 4 bye, and so the hope is he can return for week 5, but what a blow to this team. Had a lot of hopes. Adam Gase, the new coach, comes in. Le'Veon Bell had a shoulder, MRI on a sore shoulder on Thursday, I believe it was. Back to practice on Friday. He says he's good to go. I'll have more on that. The injury report for that game will come out later Saturday afternoon. So again, check the late-breaking updates for anything that hasn't been covered here. Demaryius Thomas, who was traded to the Jets from New England earlier this week, is also dealing with a tender hamstring. On the other side of the ball, Dontrell Hilliard is in the concussion protocol. He scored that touchdown, vultured a goal line touchdown from our guy Nick Chubb last week. And Rashad Higgins, wide receiver, has also been dealing with an ankle issue. So you want to check the injury report when it comes out on those guys. Watch the late breaking updates section for more on that. And also, keep hitting the main page of the site. Tons of information up there. Have all our great columnists up and working. John Laub just put up his the scholar sheet of DraftKings knowledge this morning. Brad Cruz's Week 2 sit start Sunday edition is up. Beyond that, all the great work. Gary Davenport's the Shadow Nose, along with his IDP tip sheet. I can speak. Justin Linero's digging in the DFS crates. Kyle Dvorchak has his DFS cash and tournament game breakdowns. Bobby Gomes and Kyle also did the Thursday night video. They'll do a Sunday morning live video, 9 o'clock Eastern time for an hour, helping you build your lineups, going through their lineups as they build them. So you can catch that live. You can also listen into the Football Diehards podcast. We do a lot of DFS stuff with Kyle and Justin and myself. And also, of course, Football Diehards on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio every single day. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock, essentially, on the Fantasy Channel. Sunday night, Mike Dempsey and I are on the SiriusXM NFL radio with Football Diehards from 8 to 11 p.m. Then Sunday morning, I'm on the SiriusXM pregame show with Jeff Manns from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right up to kickoff. And that entire time, though, you should be watching the main page of the site. We will have live updates, give you all those inactives I talked about, announcements in real time as they're made. So check it out, and we'll be back again next week and do it all over again. Good luck this weekend. I hope you kick some ass, take some names. Let's go.